when I picked these strings individually, did it make a melody? No. To make a melody, I had to do something like this. So that's the thing that made a melody. Now, what am I trying to say from this? Why did I come up to stage and play a guitar? It's to prove a point. The point being that for us to make music, we need many connections. The strings had to connect together to make a chord. The chords came together to make a melody. And that's how music is made. Similarly to music, society, human civilization is also made through connections. The only reason we are like this today is because our ancestors decided to work together. They decided to achieve their goals together. And like music is made of connections, music has always been there to make our connections. It has always been there to connect us. That's what I'm going to talk about. How music connects us and how it has always been connecting us. So, in the topic of connections, communication plays a huge role. You see, to connect with anyone, we have to understand anyone, right? And to understand anyone, we have to have good communication. And that's where music plays a very important role. Music is generally a form of entertainment, specifically an audio-based form of entertainment. But it being a form of entertainment, it is also a great communicator. It can send out messages in a very catchy way. And that's why it's different to normal forms of communication, like language. For example, if we take the language English, although it's known internationally, not everyone understands it. Same goes for Spanish, same goes for Mandarin, and same goes for Sinhala. Not everyone knows this language, but everyone knows music. That's because music is a universal language. Now, what's universal language? It's in the name. Language understood universally. And music has this ability to send out a message to everyone in common because of two features. One, it speaks emotion. And two, the features of music can be understood by anyone. And before I talk more into this topic, some people may like to make the disagreement that some music which has lyrics have a language. So a language barrier does come into play. But I'd like to disagree. For example, let's take K-pop, Korean pop. Who here likes K-pop? Show of hands? No one? Wow. What rock have you guys been living under? Oh, so there's one here. And please tell me if you know Korean. From the people who like or listen to K-pop, do they know Korean? Most of them don't. So, yet we still listen to K-pop. Why? Because we get the feeling of it. We get the bubbly, vibrant feeling of listening to K-pop. And we kind of get the vibes of it. We don't get the exact message, but we get the feeling. So language clearly doesn't play a big role in music. And when I come to the topic of music being emotion, emotions like happiness, sadness, frustration, anger, love, these emotions are common to everyone. Any human being in this world has the ability to feel these emotions. And we can understand these emotions through music because of the special features of music. For example, features like tone, pitch, rhythm. It could be understood by music. So if I play a very slow tone like this, it gives a very uncomfortable feeling, right? It's a very somber feeling. But I could do something like this. It gives a slow dance feeling, a very romantic feeling. And afterwards, I could play a small melody like this. Now that's punchy, that's energetic, that's something that goes with dance. So these different feelings came because you understood the pitch, the rhythm, the tone of the music I played. So it's clear that everyone can understand music and it is a universal language. But that's theoretical. That's the theoretics. Because music is technically a universal language, everyone can understand it. Thus, it's a good communicator, so we can connect with each other because of it. But we need hard facts. We need scientific proofs. So let's look at some scientific studies. A study done in Oxford shows that music can increase the oxytocin and dopamine levels in our brain. Specifically, pleasant music increases the oxytocin and dopamine levels in our brain. These are the feel-good music, the pleasurable music. These are the music that makes us happy. And when they did this study with a lot of people. And all of these people had a common feeling. As common, their oxytocin and dopamine levels increase. Meaning, music can have a common effect on a group of people. And there's another study done by Mark Planck Institute. I hope I said that correctly. So in the Mark Planck Institute, the study was done with a group of people engaging in singing activities again. And there was a phenomena called brain wave synchronization. What basically happened was when a scan of their brain waves were done, it was synchronizing with each other, meaning they were thinking in the same way. So music had this ability to make us think the same way or bring us to the same level while we are listening to the same type of music. So music has the ability to make us think in a same pattern and make us be able to connect with each other better. Because if we are thinking like each other, it's easier to form trust. It's easier to form bonds. It's easier for cooperation. So we talked about the theoretics, the scientifics. Now let's look at the practicality of music. Practically, how has the ability of connection of music been used throughout human history? Now, as I would love to talk how the ancient Africans used music in their tribal activities, I don't think that'd be very relevant for us. So let me take you back a few years. Around 50 years, in 1950, was a little something called the Cold War. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what the Cold War is, it was a time where the world was basically split into two parts, the Western Bloc and the Eastern Bloc. And that's a whole other can of worms I would like not to open. But at that time, a form of music was being popularized, jazz music. What is jazz music? Jazz music was made with the African American community in America. And it quickly gained speed and was popularized throughout the world. So at the time, the Western Bloc, America, Britain, French, they wanted to figure out a way to connect both areas, the Eastern Bloc and the Western Bloc. So they used a small technique. That's called jazz diplomacy. What they did was they sent cultural ambassadors who were jazz musicians to the Eastern Bloc, places like the Middle Eastern area, places like Russia, China. They sent jazz musicians and they had their tours. And because of jazz's spontaneity, its improvisation ability, it was different to the rigid culture that was in Russia. So this difference connected people because everyone likes something different. And at the time, people were suppressed of their ability to speak, their freedom of will, and their ability to give out their emotions. So they were able to circle around jazz and use it as a symbol of freedom to connect with each other, putting aside political ideologies and connect in a very human level. So I'd like to move down from there. How do we connect through cultural aspects? Bollywood music. Now, music itself is an identification of one's culture. The music in a certain culture is a very good way that that culture is unique. That's the same with India. India's music is very vibrant, very energetic, and that's why people love it. And because of Bollywood music, this music has been popularized throughout the world, and everyone knows it, right? But it's unique to India. Because of this, we've gotten certain cultural aspects from India into our cultures. And the reverse happened too. India got certain cultural aspects from outside into their culture. And this is what I would like to call healthy cultural exchange, where the aspects of culture was exchanged in a very healthy manner, without violence, without any problem, without prejudice. It was simply a win-win for both sides. So, when this happened, India gained a new ability to know what's happening around it. It was able to get the cultural aspect from other countries, so they were able to use it for their own good. And that was something that India and music was able to do. India was able to develop because of its music, and music gave the ability for us to have cultural exchange. So, after cultural exchange, I would like to talk how music affects us as a community. Now, if you look at any place that people gather, let's take religious places like churches, like mosques, synagogues, temples. All these places have music in one way or another. In churches, there are hymns. In temples, there are gatha. So, in one way or another, music is present. And because of this, people gather. And it's just not religious places. What about places which are not religious, like the town center or a coffee shop? But music is always there here too. Because music has the innate ability to bring everyone together. It's a form of entertainment. So everyone loves entertainment, so naturally people gather around it. And because music has the ability to give out a message, it's obvious that people would love to listen to it. And it's obvious that people would always gather around it, thus leading to connection between those people. And because of this, music has been able to make many good interpersonal relationships. So on the topic of relationships, I cannot leave out romantic relationships. So when February 14th runs around, I meet a lot of these people who have never touched a guitar, just waiting to play a song to their partner. I mean, some people may laugh at it, and some people may call it corny or cheesy, but fair point. It is a good way to show how much you care for your partner. Because emotions like love, care, are very complex emotions. And it's quite hard to explain it through words. And that's where music comes in. Music has always been used through date culture to show the emotions to the partner. And not even in romantic relationships. Music has always been there through familial bonds, siblings, friends. So, to prove a point, when you go to a party, what's the place where the most people gather around? If you say it's the dance floor, you are lying to yourself because it's the food. But if you put that aside, it's the dance floor. So, when you look at the dance floor, people are dancing, they are having fun, right? When people have fun, they don't care who's beside you. They don't care if that person beside you is educated or not. Is he rich or not? What's his social status? You just want to have fun. Because of this, people join one soul, one body through music. People are able to act as a community without even knowing it. And that's true for me too. Because I'm sure that most of my friends I met in the dance floor. I met due to our love of music. The bonds I made with my friends, with my older sister, was all because of dancing, because of music. And music is the thing that connected me. So, in this world, many people have issues with connecting people. And many people have the problem of understanding each other. But what I would like to say is that everyone has a rhythm, everyone has a melody, and everyone has a song to tell. It's just a question of listening. Understand what song, what rhythm, what pattern, what melody that everyone has, and in that way, we can connect with them. We can connect with the stories they have to tell through music. In the great song of life, we are only but small melodies, but we are connected through the chords of connection. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Gateway. Thank you, Ted. And I wish you all the very best.